Pet peeve of mine is if I'm in the chair and people try to like kneel down to my level. It's like, no, this is me standing. You can stand too. I can see eye to eye with you. It's so unfair to assume just because I might walk with a slight limp that I'm not all cognitive mentally.
I was on dialysis for 8 years. Now I have 2 little new kidneys that are cleansing my blood and I have more energy. But now I'm on anti-rejection drugs and there's just a whole other host of side effects.
I've had connective tissue disease for 7 years, but I was only diagnosed 3.5 years ago with a formal diagnosis. So I went through all kinds of treatment, but I still deal with inflammation, still some progression of the disease.
For me, I was born with the condition, and uniquely enough, I'm the only person with my condition. We believe it's a genetic mutation that's pretty much begun with me and hopefully ends with me. The good news is once you stop growing, the risk of fracture falls off a cliff in the best way possible.
The word stigma is like a catching point for me because I think it really, like, if you look it up, it's like shame, right? There's a lot of stigma around illness itself. So shame is really about you should be, people thinking you should be maybe embarrassed, or you feeling embarrassed about what you're having to deal with.
Agreed. I've had people try to monitor what I was eating and are you exercising enough? And it's like, no. Dialysis wipes you out.
Are you doing yoga? That's
you
my
doing
favorite.
yoga?
Yeah, yoga will help. If you just did more yoga, you'd be fine.
It is the cure-all.
Yeah. You know, I'm very optimistic, very happy, but it can sometimes hurt your worldview to see that people can hurt that. I have a lot of people that are almost kind of sheepishly asking, like, do you mind if I ask you about what's going on? Because for me, it's obviously very clear with the wheelchair and whatnot. They're like, can I ask why you're in the chair or something? The people I hold dearest to me are the people who are like willing to get over that fear and be like, no, have a conversation with me.
Truth be told, it's not something that I necessarily bring up or talk about a lot because people respond in a strange way. I see this as an opportunity to, as opposed to being isolated by it, to be able to connect with people who probably understand my circumstances and struggles a lot better and a lot easier than people who don't go through these similar struggles.
Exactly. When I call my parents at home, I have to normally lead off if they're not expecting me to call, either with a very happy tone or explicitly, I'm not broken, now let's get to the conversation.
Yeah.
It's just
you've got a really positive, attitude. Obviously, you
100%. You definitely do. You definitely do.
I don't want to come off like I'm all happy all the time. I'm a positive person in general because I grew up with it. I've never been afraid of asking for help when I need it, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be emotionally. And I think that is something that if anybody watching this or listening to this takes away, it's the ability to ask for help that I hope helps people.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. For me, it's probably even more of a challenge just because I don't want to ask anybody for help. I also fight not being resentful when people don't want to help. And I need to, always reflect on the fact that they have a lack of knowledge. They have a lack of connection with what's happening with me, and I look fine to them.
I can't tell you how many times I've been wheeling around somewhere and I'll encounter a slight hill. It's actually a good workout for me to be taking my wheelchair, which is a manual wheelchair, and push it up. It keeps me in good shape. Let's make it going. And I have somebody not even ask, just come up and push me up the hill. Look, I'm appreciative that it normally comes from a good place. It's just weird.
That's got to be tough. I don't believe that human beings truly want to dismiss other human beings. I think it's a lack of connection with what that human being is dealing with.
You're so right. I've lost or not been able to keep friends. If they are there for you, they'll be there for you. And if they're not, that's not your person. That's not the person.
You gotta take care of yourself.
The world accommodates me pretty comfortably and by law. But for everybody else who may have something that's more interior to them, it's completely different. You may be able to hide it, but at the same point, you're going to get a lot of doubt. You're going to get a lot of roadblocks that you keep hitting. Getting to learn a little bit more about end-stage renal disease or about the connective tissue disorders, it helps me understand and try to accommodate better. And I hope that there are similar people who now have some level of a touch point.
To hear how we cope, reimagining who you are and what your life is going to look like with this illness, it's incredibly encouraging. And also to hear the stories through humor, or it still tells a story that you hope people will not only grasp and understand, but will also open their minds somewhat.